What if everything you were taught about fairness was a lie designed to keep you in place? You've been told that if you work hard, stay honest, and wait your turn, life will reward you. But deep down, you've seen the truth. The promotions go to the loudest, not the most loyal. The praise lands on those who play the game, not the ones who follow the rules. You've watched the cunning get ahead while you hold your breath, waiting for someone to notice your efforts. No one's coming. And no one cares if you played fair. The world doesn't hand out trophies for integrity. It only celebrates the ones who finish first. That's not negativity, that's reality. And admitting it isn't weakness, it's power. Because when you stop clinging to the lie of fairness, you finally see the game for what it is. Not a straight path, but a battlefield. And on battlefield, survival belongs to the strategic, to the bold, to those who understand that morality is often used as a leash, not a compass. Think about how many times you've hesitated, waiting for the aright way, the safer. How many times you've played by the rules and watched someone else get ahead by bending them? You told yourself it was okay, that your time would come, but your time doesn't just arrive, it's taken. Seized, demanded. This world is moved by pressure, not patience. Those who hesitate lose position. Those who wait for permission give up power. Falling behind is not just about pace, it's about mindset. Every second you delay out of fear of looking bad, someone else is making a move that puts you behind. And once you fall back, catching up becomes a war you're not ready to fight. But here's where the shift happens. Once you accept that the system isn't built for fairness, you stop trying to win their game and start playing your own. You stop asking for justice and start building leverage. You stop apologizing for wanting more and you start reaching for it without shame. That's not cheating, it's adapting. It's using the truth to your advantage instead of letting it crush you. And when you do, something changes. You start making moves that matter. You stop living for approval and start chasing results. That's when your name begins to carry weight. Not because you begged for respect, but because you demanded progress. This is your moment to unlearn the lies, to abandon the idea that being good is enough, to step into a mindset that values progress over perfection, strategy over sentiment. Because this world doesn't care if you followed the rules, it only remembers if you won. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why the bold succeed, why the cunning lead, and why the unwilling stay behind. Stay with me. If you're tired of waiting, if you're done being overlooked, then what comes next isn't just advice. It's your strategy for control, for power, for the life you were meant to take. Being behind is not just a moment in time. It becomes your identity if you let it. You start thinking from the back. You make decisions from a place of fear, not strength. You chase instead of lead. And the worst part, you start accepting it. You tell yourself stories to cope, that you're being humble, that you're just patient, that your turn will come. But the truth is, you're shrinking. Every second spent behind someone else is a second spent giving them the power to define your worth. And once that mindset takes root, it spreads like poison. You second guess your instincts. You wait for confirmation. You look around for signs instead of creating them. You move cautiously while the world rewards speed. Not recklessness, but speed born from clarity, from decisiveness, from refusing to be stuck behind people who aren't even better, just bolder. Falling behind isn't just about pace, it's about surrender. Surrendering your urgency, surrendering your fire. And every time you do that, life slips further away from your control. There is no safety in being last. There is no virtue in waiting for the world to recognize you. This world responds to pressure. It listens to force. Not the kind that crushes others, but the kind that refuses to be quiet. The kind that doesn't beg, doesn't stall, and doesn't hide. The kind that moves without permission. And that kind of force comes from one truth: never accept being behind as your place. You were not built to follow the noise. You were made to create it. To shift the energy of a room, to move people, systems, and outcomes with your will. But that power only awakens when you stop apologizing for wanting to lead. You cannot lead from the back. You cannot change your life from a position of weakness. You have to rise, even if it makes others uncomfortable, especially then, because comfort is the trap. It keeps you quiet. It keeps you kind when you need to be clear. It makes you wait when you need to act. Behind is where the forgotten go. Behind is where regrets are born, where doubt thrives, where potential rots. Every moment you stay there, you lose something. Time, confidence, respect, yours and theirs. But that ends the second you decide to move. The second you stop defending your place and start claiming one no one can ignore. This is your wake-up call. Being behind is not noble. It is not part of the process. It is a warning. And if you keep waiting, it becomes a sentence. You don't need to feel ready. You need to feel the urgency, that inner burn that tells you it's now or never. Let it rise, let it fuel you. Because when you refuse to be behind, you stop chasing what you deserve and you start becoming it. That's how the winners think. That's how the powerful move. And that's where your real story begins. People don't follow the most moral, they follow the most certain. The world responds to strength, not virtue. That's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to say out loud. You've been conditioned to believe that if you just do good work, if you just stay kind, if you just stay honest, people will notice. But they don't. They notice impact. They notice influence. They notice those who walk into a room like they own it because they've already decided they will. And they don't ask for approval before moving. They act, they execute, and they take up space without apology. That's not arrogance. That's survival. That's psychology. People are wired to follow those who appear powerful. They equate confidence with capability. That's why hesitation kills momentum and silence erases presence. Every time you shrink, the world shrinks its respect for you. And the worst part? They won't even know they're doing it. It's automatic. It's unconscious. It's how human perception works. Appear strong and your flaws are forgiven. Appear weak and even your strengths are ignored. That's how power moves beneath the surface. There's a reason those who win often play dirty. Not because they lack values, but because they understand something deeper. Rules don't decide reality. Results do. They know perception can be shaped, outcomes can be controlled, and sometimes control means bending what others blindly follow. They don't get stuck asking what's allowed. They ask what works. They study the field, they find the cracks, and they move through them while everyone else waits for instructions. And still, they're called brilliant. They're admired, envied, followed. Because in the end, we respect what works. That's human nature. We want leaders who move mountains, not ones who ask for permission to push a stone. That's the edge you need to claim. The edge that says, I won't be bound by rules built to keep me small. Not reckless, not lawless, just strategic, just awake. Awake to the truth that strategy beats sincerity. That presence beats perfection. That outcomes are the only real proof of power. So you have a choice, keep being liked or start being respected. Keep hoping someone will lift you up or learn how to climb on your own. You don't need to betray your values. You need to control your outcomes. That starts when you drop the fantasy that doing things the right way guarantees success. It doesn't. Life isn't fair. But it is responsive. It responds to boldness. It responds to pressure. It responds to those who act with a mind sharpened by strategy and a heart fueled by fire. You are not here to be overlooked. You are not here to wait your turn. You are here to move like you belong at the top, because deep down, you do. So stop asking, stop hesitating, and stop believing that following every rule will build your legacy. Power is perception. Strength is strategy. Control is earned, and if you want it, you must be willing to play like it. Success is not a reward for the righteous. It is a prize for the relentless. The world does not pause to ask who deserved to win. It simply moves with the one who did. History does not remember the quiet worker in the corner. It remembers the one who seized the moment, regardless of how clean their hands were. You don't get extra credit for being pure. You get forgotten. Because when it comes to power, only one thing matters. Did you take it or not? People respect the result, not the process. That's the brutal truth you have to accept if you ever want to rise. The illusion that doing everything in the right way will protect you is comforting, but dangerous. Oh, because while you're focused on being perfect, someone else is focused on winning. And they will. Not because they're better, but because they were willing to go where you hesitated. They didn't wait for fair, they didn't hope for permission. They saw the cracks and moved through them before you even realized the door was open. You're not falling behind because you lack talent. You're falling behind because you're still clinging to a moral code that was designed to keep you tame. You've been told that being good means waiting, sacrificing, enduring. But what if being good has nothing to do with getting what you want? What if success demands a different kind of good? Good at adapting, good at pressure, good at playing the angles no one else dares to touch. That's not betrayal. That's evolution. You don't owe the world obedience. You owe yourself results. You owe yourself the life you dream about when no one's watching. And that life will not appear through patience alone. It comes through strategy, through relentless movement, through a mindset that asks one question every day: what must I do to gain ground today? Not in theory, but in reality, in action. Because when you shift your focus from being seen as right to being seen as effective, everything changes. Your voice deepens, your moves sharpen. Your confidence hardens into certainty. That certainty is magnetic. It draws respect, attention, opportunity. People start to look at you differently, not because you asked them to, but because you made them. Because results cannot be ignored. No one questions the winner's path once they stand at the top. They only ask how they got there, and by then it's too late. You're already holding the crown. That's what you're here for. Not applause, not comfort, power, movement, impact. Something that shakes the ground you walk on. So let them talk, let them judge, let them cling to their illusion of fairness. You are not here to be accepted. You are here to win. And once you do, they'll rewrite your story anyway. They always do. Just make sure you're the one writing the ending. Because in this life, winning isn't everything. It's the only thing that rewrites who you are. They will call you ruthless the moment you stop playing small. The moment you make a move they didn't expect. The moment you take something they assumed you'd be too polite to reach for. That's when the labels start. Too aggressive, too ambitious, too much. But understand this, they only say that when you started to make them uncomfortable. When you stepped out of the place they built for you. When your presence begins to feel like pressure, that's not your signal to back down. That's your confirmation you're doing it right. The world fears those who cannot be controlled, those who don't wait to be chosen, those who choose themselves and move with intent. When you stop asking for acceptance, you break the system that depends on your silence. And when you stop needing to be liked, you become dangerous. Not because you're cruel, but because you're free. Free to make decisions that serve your future, not their comfort. Free to use every angle, every crack, every advantage without guilt. Free to act instead of endlessly analyzing what's fair. There is no greatness without discomfort, and the discomfort you feel when you start taking up space, when you begin to win on your terms, that's not something to run from. That's the old you dying, the one who begged for approval, the one who believed they had to earn permission to be powerful. You don't. You are not here to be palatable. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be effective, to be felt, to be remembered. And that requires a kind of inner violence. The decision to kill who you are so who you are can live fully. This is the moment you stop playing by rules designed to keep you in check. This is where your hunger outgrows your hesitation. You are not bound by the expectations of those who play small and call it integrity. You are not obligated to lose so others can feel safe. Your success is not a threat. It's a mirror. It reflects what others refuse to become. That's why they'll judge you. That's why they'll try to pull you back. But power doesn't explain itself. Power doesn't justify. Power moves, and you're here to move. If you want to win, understand this. There is no virtue in invisibility. There is no reward for shrinking. There is no crown for the most obedient. The rewards go to the bold. The ones who are willing to blur the line between what is and what could be. The ones who see the rules and choose to shape them. Not to hurt others, but to stop hurting themselves by staying small. That's the real shift. When you stop betraying your potential just to be accepted by people who don't even respect what you could become. You don't need more time. You need more fire, the kind that burns through excuses and lights the path forward. If you've ever felt the weight of being behind, this is your permission to step out of line and lead, not someday. Now, there is a part of you that already knows what must be done. You've silenced it for years, drowned it out with logic, with doubt, with the voice that tells you to be reasonable. But deep beneath that noise is something sharper, instinct, the raw, untamed signal that tells you when to strike, when to move, when to break free. It's not reckless, it's real, and it's been waiting for you to stop negotiating with fear and start listening to power. You've been trained to second guess it, to believe that your gut feeling is dangerous, that if you move too fast, speak too directly, want too much, you'll break something. But maybe that's the point. Maybe what needs to be broken is the version of you that keeps waiting. The one who thinks playing nice will get you ahead. The one who trades their power for peace and calls it maturity. There's nothing mature about letting your potential rot inside of you just because the world prefers you quiet. Every breakthrough is born in the moment you finally stop lying to yourself. When you admit that you want more, that you're done waiting, that you've outgrown the soft version of yourself built to be tolerated. That's the beginning of domination, not over others, but over your own limits. You don't need to be more careful. You need to be more committed, not to comfort, but to the version of your life that only exists on the other side of bold moves. You have every right to be relentless, every right to take up space, to walk with certainty, to make choices that prioritize progress over politeness. You're not here to be digestible, you're here to be undeniable, and that requires precision, discipline, the refusal to entertain any thought that weakens your direction. The world will try to convince you that this hunger is dangerous, that it makes you selfish, cold, detached. But the truth is, it makes you free, because the moment you accept that it's okay to want more, you start living like it. You begin to move with clarity. You stop stalling. You stop shrinking. You look at situations not through the lens of fear, but through the filter of results. What gets you forward stays. What holds you back is cut. No apology, no explanation. That's how power is built. Not in chaos, but in clean, decisive alignment with your purpose. Every thought, every action, every move becomes a declaration. I will not be behind. That's the vow you must make to yourself, that you will no longer betray your own greatness just to be palatable to people who wouldn't survive the path you're walking. You were not built to chase. You were built to conquer, so stop waiting for things to change. You are the change, you are the shift, and once you accept that, nothing behind you can define what's ahead. Only you can, only now. You rise the moment you decide that playing it safe is no longer safe. Because the longer you wait to act, the more you lose your edge. The longer you stall, the more permission you give the world to shape you into something smaller. Safety is not protection. It's a prison dressed in comfort. It lulls you into patterns, routines, and habits that rob your ambition. Every second spent in hesitation is ground surrender to someone hungrier, faster, and less afraid to be disliked. You don't need more plans. You need more audacity. The kind that breaks the pattern and forces a shift. You are not here to survive the system. You are here to beat it, to bend it, to move through it like fire through dry grass. That requires clarity, a deep, unshakable clarity about who you are and what you will no longer tolerate. You've tolerated too much doubt, delay, indecision. You've dimmed your own light to make others feel less threatened. But what has that earned you? Nothing worth keeping. The truth is, nobody hands you power. You take it. Not with force, but with focus. Not with noise, but with precision. You become undeniable, not by asking, but by acting with such clarity, the world has no choice but to respond. This isn't about ego. It's about evolution. The evolution of your mindset from passive to strategic, from emotional to exact. You cannot afford to be reactive anymore. You can't keep letting your feelings dictate your moves. You need to become cold to excuses and sharp to opportunity. You need to study outcomes, not opinions. And you must care less about how people perceive your ambition and more about what that ambition creates. The goal is not to be liked. It's to be effective, to make moves that echo beyond your name. Everything that has ever held you back came wrapped in something familiar: comfort, validation, the illusion of time. But familiarity is a trap. It tricks you into thinking you're safe when really you're stuck. If you want a different life, you must create a different pattern. Cut deeper, move faster, speak less, execute more. You don't need their approval to evolve. You need your own permission to be dangerous in your pursuit, to embrace the parts of you that scare even you. The part that doesn't settle, doesn't wait, doesn't stop until it wins. That part is not a flaw. It's your edge, and it's been dulled by years of false humility. It's time to sharpen it. Ruthlessly, strategically, you weren't born to beg. You were born to build. You were born to dominate the space you entered, not by chance, but by choice. Every excuse is a lie in disguise. Clear them out. Replace them with motion, with power, with power. With the quiet violence of total focus, you're not behind because life is unfair. You're behind because you haven't gone all in. Not yet. But you will. Because something inside you is done with being safe. And that part is ready to lead. You don't need more motivation, you need more truth. The raw kind, the kind that doesn't sugarcoat your delays or protect your pride. Because somewhere deep inside, you already know what's holding you back. It's not the world, it's not your past, it's not your circumstances. It's the part of you that still plays small when you should be moving like a storm. The part that waits for signs instead of becoming one. You've felt the power in you, you've tasted it in flashes, but flashes aren't enough. Power must become your baseline. It must become your standard. The world isn't going to stop spinning for you to catch up. It's moving fast and it rewards those who move faster. Not those who are perfect, not those who have it all figured out, but those who act while others wait. That's the edge you need to claim. Immediate movement, ruthless focus, zero tolerance for mental hesitation. Because hesitation is the luxury of the average. And you weren't built to be average. You were built to be undeniable. To make moves that don't require explanation because the results speak for themselves. You don't owe softness to the world that made you hard. You don't owe obedience to a system that never played fair. What you owe is loyalty to your own mission, the mission to become more, to build a life that reflects the fire you carry inside. That fire doesn't need permission, it needs direction. Stop negotiating with the weaker parts of yourself. Stop asking for alignment with people who fear the speed of your transformation. Most won't understand your drive, and they're not supposed to. Their confusion is confirmation that you're moving beyond their limits. Power is built in the shadows, while others sleep, stall, and second guess. That's where you separate. That's where you outgrow the need to be seen and start chasing the need to be unstoppable. Make your moves in silence. Let your growth make the noise. You don't need to announce your next step. Just take it. Quietly, relentlessly. And when doubt creeps in, don't explain it away. Eliminate it. Cut the thought. Replace it with action. Every time you move, you rewrite the limits of what you think is possible. And over time, those limits vanish. This is the mindset you need to breathe. Not sometimes, not when it feels good. Every day, every hour, every choice. It's not about working harder. It's about removing anything that makes you hesitate to strike. Your delay is your enemy. Your indecision